Eminem is back again, and his new song is awesome. Here's why it matters.
My name is Slim Shady.
What is up, guys? Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and giving it a watch. Before we get into it, I'd like to remind you to subscribe to my channel for pop culture and nerd culture and movies, games, TV shows, music, that kind of content, all on this feed. There's a bunch of videos, and I know you'll like my videos if you like this one, so please subscribe, thumbs up, comment, all of the above, all of the below, whatever you want to say. Anyway, let's get into the video. Okay, I don't even really know where to start with this new Eminem song, but I guess the news is that Eminem's new song, Houdini, is out now with a music video attached to it, and it is awesome. And I feel like I want to give some context as to my history with Eminem, why I really like him, and why I really like this new song in particular. Eminem, of course, is one of the biggest rappers and hip-hop artists in the entire world, has been for a very, very long time, was particularly well known and probably hit his peak in the early 2000s with some of his biggest songs, such as The Real Slim Shady, Without Me, Mockingbird, Lose Yourself, Just Lose It, and I mean, I'm sure I'm missing a bunch there, but those are some of the big ones that spring to mind when I think of peak Eminem. And as a millennial, I feel like Eminem really spoke to me as a kid, probably for all the wrong reasons. I mean, his music, like a lot of hip-hop, was particularly crass and rude, but one of the main things I really liked about Eminem all the way back then was this kind of persona he created through his music called Slim Shady. Of course, Eminem's real name is Marshall Mathers. That's where you get the M and M, and that's why it was Eminem. But he also had Slim Shady, this alter ego who was like this evil character, and I feel like the Slim Shady character in particular was responsible for a lot of his biggest songs. I mean, the Slim Shady character I always associated with the more higher pitch kind of accenty rapping that he did in songs like My Name Is, The Real Slim Shady, and Without Me, and that character to me really personifies the best of Eminem. And I was such an avid follower of his music, and I particularly enjoyed the era where he released an album called Relapse, which was almost all that like Slim Shady persona. I really enjoyed the music on that album, but Eminem went through a well-publicized battle with like addiction and depression and all kinds of like issues around that.
Almost died from an overdose in 2007.
And that kind of led to this album Recovery in, I think, 2009 or 10, which to me was like a more serious and toned down sound. That album was very like reflective of his own life, the difficulties that he's encountered in his life with addiction, with his very poor upbringing, with his mentally ill mother, which has been a recurring theme in all of his music. But he kind of retired the Slim Shady character in that album. In the song Not Afraid, which was one of the singles and one of the comeback kind of moments of his career, one of the lyrics is something along the lines of, I ran the accents into the ground. And I think he really felt like he was done with that kind of Slim Shady persona. And unfortunately for me, that's kind of where I think his music sort of stopped being amazing. I think he's had a lot of really good modern hits, particularly songs like The River with Ed Sheeran, which I thought was a great collaboration. He also did another song with Ed Sheeran called Remember the Name, which I thought was also quite good. But generally, none of his albums since sort of Relapse have ever kind of captured me in the same way as his earlier work. And to be honest, and this sounds kind of mean, but I just feel like Eminem worked better when he was using drugs. And I know that sounds really bad, and I certainly don't want him to, you know, not be sober and looking after his mental health, but I think the wildness and the rawness of Eminem really like reflected in that music back then. And then when he toned it down, like, yes, it was still good, but it wasn't as amazing and creative as I think he was back when he was Slim Shady. So a lot of his albums since then, I just haven't really related to or got into. There's been a few songs here and there that I've enjoyed, but just generally speaking, they haven't really done it for me. But I always have checked out his new music just to see if any of it was sort of to my liking or back in that style, which is why I was really excited when he announced that his new album was called The Death of Slim Shady, and that it kind of felt like he might be bringing that character back a little bit. And his newest song, Houdini, which literally just came out, was amazing. I absolutely loved it so much because it's so clear in this song, and I do think that this is probably because a lot of his more recent work hasn't been as commercially or critically successful as his earlier work. He is clearly trying to reinvigorate that nostalgia and that feeling that people had for that character back in the day. In fact, the song even starts with the lyrics, "Guess who's back? Shady's back," which is an iconic line from Without Me, one of his most famous songs, which instantly calls back to that time. And then when he first starts actually rapping the first verse, it feels very in tone with those earlier albums. And the Slim Shady character actually appears in the music video in a callback to the costume that he wore in the Without Me video. He even has the blonde hair that he used to have back in the day and was iconic at some bits. And it was just such an awesome video with so many cool callbacks. The video has this like comic book superhero style motif, which is what the Without Me video did have back in the day. And I think what I want most is Eminem to just have a little bit of fun with his music. Like, it all seemed like it got very glum and serious once he was sober. It all sort of started to feel like he was just trying to make really serious music and not like fun, funny music that I think he was very well known for. But this song is so good. It's immediately catchy. It's got that Slim Shady vibe. The chorus is fun. It's like abracadabra for my next trick. There's a lot of chicka chickas, which Eminem is well known for. And I feel like some of the spirit of the old Eminem and Slim Shady were in this song, and that's the pure intention of this song, which really makes it work. Honestly, as soon as I started listening to it, I was like, this is exactly what I've wanted from Eminem for a very long time, but just haven't really gotten. And I honestly cannot be more excited for the full album now that I've heard this. I think Eminem's legacy is so strong, and obviously he's not really at the forefront of popular culture, particularly in hip hop, like he was in the 2000s, but I don't think that matters. Like, as I said, the legacy and the amount of records that he's sold over the years, and just how many iconic songs he has, and how talented he is as a writer and as a rapper, means that like he just has lifelong fans like me who will definitely go and see him live and will definitely check out his new music. You know, it's a common trend that artists, as they get older, people often just go play the old stuff. Like, not many people love like artists' new stuff, which is fine, but I think this is the right time in Eminem's career to play on nostalgia, to go back to that early era of his music. And to be honest, I think Eminem is a really interesting case because even though he came from poverty, he kind of built this life of wealth for himself and this, I guess, more stable life than he ever had as a kid. And, you know, recently pictures emerged of him at his daughter Hailey's wedding. Hailey has been mentioned in a lot of his songs over the years, and she had a little bit of a troubled upbringing, but it was just so great seeing almost like this end of a cycle in his family that he built for his daughters. Overall, I'm really excited for this next era of Eminem. I loved this song so much. It was bouncy, it was jaunty, it was fun, and I'm really excited to see what's next for Eminem. Whew, thank you so much for watching. That was just my quick little reaction to Eminem's new song. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like videos like this, if you want more pop culture, nerd culture, millennial pop culture, 90s pop culture kind of stuff, I am the channel for you. I'm growing a fair bit, and you know, I'd love to have you on board. So hit that subscribe button. I also have a Patreon. If you like these videos, join the Patreon. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters so far who are on the screen now. And I also do a podcast. It's called 20th Century Boy. Again, millennial pop culture, 90s pop culture. If you're a 90s kid, you'll like my stuff. I really do believe that. So go and check my podcast out. It could be on that side, it could be on that side, wherever you listen to podcasts, or just on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one. My name's Radio Mike. This has been The Inside of My Mind. Bye-bye.